Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Robbie Basel Show. It is great to be back with you after not great last couple of videos. We're doing all previews. Like, let's talk about current events, like that's what I'm here to do for you guys. I'm not here to every week preview what the hell is going on. Or preview a season. No, I'm here to break down what the hell is going on right now. And we're doing that today. We are doing a weekend review for the first time in like 3 weeks, it feels like. So, you know, the sun is shining. It's starting to get cold. I don't like that. Just like I don't like some of the performances from some of the teams that we will be discussing about today. And we will begin in the Premier League because a lot happened in the Premier League. And we're going to go over some of the bigger games today. Once again, before we go into the Premier League, though, just a couple of quick announcements. If you're not seeing any edits on this video, that's because I'm not editing the video today. I know. Crucify me. I know. There is a reason for that. The goal was to get this video out before World Series game 3. And good news, this will be going out before World Series Game 3. Um, but yeah, I cannot edit it and have all the other responsibilities that I have to do if we wanted to edit it. So no edits again, only just the intro song in this video. I'm sorry. This will be changing on Friday because I have a lot of stuff done on Friday. At least for now, I don't even know, to be honest, because who the hell knows? Also, happy Halloween. Video is going out before Halloween, but enjoy the Halloween on Thursday. I might be streaming. Follow my Instagram to see if I'm streaming. I don't even know. We would be doing Jets Texans on Halloween. I might wear a costume. What costume should I wear if I'm doing the stream? Comment that down below. Top comment might get picked. Who knows? Additionally, I will be on ESPN on air from the looks of it on Saturday. I got the text this morning. Shout out to my boss, Garrett. Stud, by the way. From the looks of it, I will be commentating men's soccer on Saturday. More info on that as the week goes on. So we have the regular video today. We had total madness everywhere. We had the World Series begin. We had the Jets sell. Where do I start? Premier League is where we're starting, though. We have the Premier League, and we're hearing about the Ballon d'Or soon. So let's go into the Premier League and with some breaking news later on, and we'll go into that in a second. We begin with Saturday's games, and the game featured today. We have Manchester City struggling to barely beat Southampton. Yeah, when I read that in the paper, I was reading that during the weekend. I was like, what the hell? Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. But in the end, City wins 1-0. Hold on one sec, chat. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, back to Man City. They won by a goal to nil against Southampton. Despite City having 2.95 XG and a lot go right for them, 22 shots to 5, they only won 1-0. Yeah, I would like to make sense of that as well. But City were able to get their win, just like not many of the other top teams. And a lot of them played on Sunday, and we'll go over them in a second. Other Saturday results, we had a big result for Bournemouth, who were playing at Aston Villa. A 96th minute equalizer by Evanilson is able to get a point. Bournemouth get a big point against at least gets 4 points in the last 2 games against top 5 teams. They were able to beat Arsenal when Saliba got sent off, which I wish I could talk about, but we don't have all the time to talk about that today. And then they get a point very, very late against Aston Villa at Villa Park. So big result for Bournemouth. They're able to grab a point. Brentford and Ipswich played an absolute clinic in a game that, to be honest with you, didn't seem real whatsoever. This game had 7 goals, including goals in the 28th, 44th, 46th, 28th, 31st, 44th, 46th, 51st, 86th, and a 96th minute winner by Brian Mbuemo wins it for the Bees as they sting Ipswich in the end to win it 4-3, which is ridiculous, by the way. Shout out to Brentford for actually starting to live up to potential. They're in ninth, and they've gotten points in 3 of their last 4, including winning 2 of their last 3. They actually get to play Fulham next, a Fulham side. If we take a look at what they did this weekend, Fulham went out and drew Everton 1-1. Makes total sense. And also Brighton just doesn't want to play football. They went and drew Wolves, which sure. Danny Welbeck, who we all thought he had like a serious injury. He doesn't. The only thing he does have, though, is the tendency to score goals. He scores again. Evan Ferguson got a second, but an 88th and a 93rd minute equalizer gets a point for Wolves after they were robbed against Man City last week, 2 weeks ago. Ait Nouri and Matthias Cunha able to get the goals as Wolves somehow get a point against Brighton. Also, we had a game on Friday. Almost forgot to mention the Friday game. Leicester went out and played Nottingham Forest, a Nottingham Forest team that played on Monday. They play on Friday, but it doesn't matter what day of the week it feels like for them at this point, because they're able to go out and win at the King Power Stadium, 3-1. Ryan Yates, Chris Wood, they're able to connect for all 3 goals. Yates scored. The Jamie Vardy got an equalizer, but 2 goals by Chris Wood win it for Nottingham Forest. Sunday, we had Crystal Palace in a very weird matchup against Tottenham. A turnover leads to a goal. Eberechi Eze finding Jean-Philippe Mateta to get the goal for Crystal Palace as they're able to stun Tottenham 1-0. That wasn't the only stunner. We had Chelsea in a game I actually did a practice commentary on. Almost got they were eventually able to find a way to beat Newcastle. Cole Palmer, phenomenal match from him. He actually had a goal disallowed early on, but he's able to find a way to have a good buildup of play from Cole Palmer. Great ball over the top. Finds Pedro Neto and a diagonal ball into the box. Finds Nicholas Jackson as Chelsea were able to go up early. Alexander Isak was eventually able to respond for Newcastle's first goal in 3 games, which is absurd. Cole Palmer, though, ended the hopes for Newcastle as he scored, and Chelsea should have had like 5. Chelsea win 2-1 after their press puts on an absolute clinic, and the Blues are absolutely flying. They are in 5th because Aston Villa got a point, which is absurd. Chelsea are 1 point off of 3rd because Arsenal went out and did it again. They blew it again. I'm tired of this. Bukayo Saka, great start. Arsenal able to go up early with Bukayo Saka with an assist from Ben White, but corner kicks are now Arsenal's kryptonite. Yeah, I don't understand it either. Virgil van Dijk gets a free header. Great ball in by Diaz. Van Dijk's able to score. But then Mikel Merino, who puts on an absolute banging header finish, is able to get Arsenal back in front. But in the end, it's Mohamed Salah again, because that's what he does. Darwin Nunez, great ball to Salah. Salah's able to slot it home. And Liverpool and Arsenal ended at 2-2. You can make an argument that Arsenal were robbed in the end because the referee did blow the whistle. That was Anthony Taylor blew the whistle during a promising Arsenal attack at the end. But Arsenal didn't really deserve it. No one deserved to win this. It was not the best performance by either team. Van Dijk played well. For Arsenal, Saka, Declan Rice, and Ben White were all playing great. Marino playing in the holding midfield spot. I think that's like his first start for the team. He looked fine. The issue for Arsenal is going to be fitness. And the reason I say that is because Saliba, red card suspension. He comes back next game. Gabriel got hurt. They were starting Ben White at right center half, which is like the weirdest thing ever. And I did not like it. Um, but if you look at who they have injured, Calafiori out. Now they lost Gabriel. They had Saliba out of this game. Like, they are getting injured beyond belief. Jurriën Timber is not up to speed. He just came back from an injury himself. Arsenal's defense is getting peppered by injuries, and it's really costing them some very vital matches. Injuries and red cards have been Arsenal's worst nightmare. If you look at their recent run in the Premier League, they've lost back-to-back games. They've dropped points in back-to-back Premier League matches. They barely beat Shakhtar in the Champions League in their last time out, and they only won because of an own goal. Like, this cannot be happening from a team that it felt like this was their destiny in order to come out here and eventually win the Premier League. They cannot be dropping points in matches like this. If you want to say, they can beat those top 6 sides. They can go out there, even if they're injured, even if Liverpool plays an extremely bad or good game, Arsenal are going to go out there and grab a win. You cannot say that with the state of the Arsenal roster. I'm not making excuses for them. They're making excuses for themselves because they cannot go out and perform with the players that they currently have. And it's a little bit worrying because if you look at where Arsenal are on the table, the Champions League table, they're not looking great. They're in ninth. But Arsenal have still found a way to be third in the table with their one loss on the season to freaking Bournemouth, which is humiliating in its own, but they got a red card and they didn't really help themselves. But Arsenal in third, 5 points off of Manchester City. It's not over for them yet, but Arsenal are about to play another tough match in the league. That's away to Newcastle. Now, and for Newcastle, they've only lost 6 of their last 42 home matches over the last 3 years. Draw. Just saying it now. Draw. And Arsenal, by the way, if you look at when the last time they dropped back-to-back points in the league, I don't even know when that was. Was that at Christmas? That was the end of last year, of the calendar year of last year, when they lost to West Ham and Fulham, and then they proceeded to only lose, once in the league after that? Yeah, they lost to Aston Villa, and they lost 1 game after that. Arsenal's margin for error in the next couple of months has gone from moderate to 0 because of how many points they've dropped to Bournemouth and Brighton and Man City somehow. They are not helping themselves at all. And know what else isn't helping them? The schedule that they have coming up next. They have Newcastle, Chelsea, and a shocking Nottingham Forest team after they play Newcastle. It's Newcastle, Chelsea, Nottingham Forest. They have a cup game on Wednesday. I'm hoping they play like no good players. We are playing Preston. They better win by like 7. And they have a Champions League matchup squished in between Newcastle and Chelsea away. This is not a very friendly Arsenal schedule over the next couple of weeks. And if you're an Arsenal fan, you want the international break of November to come sooner rather than later because this is not a good spot to be in. And with the injuries they have, who knows how they're going to look. Hopefully, Gabriel's injury is not serious. We have no information on that yet. But Arsenal dropping points. And now let's talk about Liverpool because Liverpool, in their own right, were without Alisson Becker and we're still fine. Like, granted, some of the starters had a very poor game. Trent Alexander-Arnold, not good. Curtis Jones, not good. Van Dijk and Konate were a couple of times shaky, but I think they had a pretty okay matchup. But the left side of Diaz on the wing, Darwin Nunez, and Salah, the front 3 that they have, looked fantastic for the majority of this match. You had Salah with a goal, Darwin Nunez, who has an assist, and Diaz, who also had an assist in this game. You look at Salah's numbers and his expected goal. He had 0.35 XG by himself. Darwin Nunez had like 0.3. Diaz had 0.7 expected assists or something ridiculous. I don't remember what the exact number was. That front three caused so many problems for Arsenal. And it'll be intriguing for the rest of the way to see how front threes of that caliber are able to affect teams like Arsenal. But one other point on Liverpool, a big thing I had about them was they weren't able to come out, and we didn't know if they're able to go out and win the big match. And I said that going before they played Chelsea. And in their last two big games, which were Chelsea and Arsenal, Liverpool, who before then played literally no one, were able to beat Chelsea and draw Arsenal away. Granted, Arsenal, like I said earlier, were not fully healthy in the defense whatsoever. But still, it's a point away to Arsenal. That's a phenomenal result for Arne Slot, who we didn't know how he was going to be able to adapt to playing in a stadium like Arsenal. Yes, he's had a reputation to be able to adapt well, but we didn't know how it was going to look in the Premier League in a tough away environment of Arsenal. Well, he's proving me wrong, and Liverpool, who have played a phenomenal last two games in their own right, are now playing a doubleheader against Brighton because they are away to Brighton on Wednesday in the cup and then play Brighton next on Saturday. And their schedule is actually not great either. They play Brighton, who are a tough out, and they're playing Villa. In between them, they have Leverkusen in the Champions League. And right after they play Southampton, which is after Villa, which is also after the international break, they play Real Madrid, City, and Newcastle away. That is where you really want to see how good Liverpool is. Playing Newcastle at home, playing Manchester City and Real Madrid at home and Newcastle away. That's a tough schedule, but that's around Thanksgiving time. Currently in the present, Liverpool is currently 1 point behind Man City. And now we get to go into the match I've been waiting to talk about all day. West Ham and Manchester United. What a terrible club Manchester United is. They have so many good players. They have a lot of talent, injuries or not, and all they love to do is complain. That's all I heard. Complaint after complaint after complaint after complaint. I literally could write like a whole freaking list on parchment paper on how many times Manchester United like to complain about things. Yes, do they have injuries? Of course they do. Everyone has injuries. They've lost. Okay, here's some of the injuries that are significant. Luke Shaw, Lenny Euro, Kobe Mainu, Mount, Harry Maguire. Those are the significant injuries. Anthony, I guess, too. But the talent they still have on this team is significantly solid. Ugarte, Xerxes, Diallo on the bench. In the starting lineup, they have Rashford, Bruno, Garnacho. Defensively, they have Masraoui, Martinez, and Matthias de Ligt. Rasmus Højlund up front. Onana. Like, I know everyone loves to make the meme of Onana. What's his name? Where is his goalkeeping abilities gone? But he's been really solid. How is this team this bad? I know how, because the finishing ability on this team is the equivalent of a second grader. And I am not kidding on this. Numbers time. It is time to pull up my favorite thing. Numbers. Manchester United. By the way, they lost again. They lost 2-1 because of a controversial 92nd minute penalty that was converted by Jared Bowen, who he leads the way to defeat Manchester United 2-1. Now, Manchester United, we're going to look this up on my phone, actually. Manchester United, I think the stat was they've only scored 8 goals all season. No, but let's look at their recent form for goal scoring, because it has to show us something. Anything. 0. Okay, this is since the beginning of September. 0-3. They scored 7 against Barnsley, but that's fine. 0-1 in the Europa League. 0-0-2-1. They've scored like no goals. They cannot score in the Premier League. And before that, so here's their Premier League goals scored. Let's go through this real quick. 1-1, 0-3, 0-0-0 again, which that stretches against Crystal Palace, Tottenham, and Villa. 2-1, and that's it. And now they're playing Leicester in the cup, and then they play Chelsea on Sunday. Yikes. And the best part about this whole thing is that they have Eric Ten Hag still as the manager, and he cannot do anything right. All he asks is for time and time. Hold on a second. Oh, I'm getting it's from one of my friends. Yo, what's up, mate? What? Can I call you back? United sacked Ten Hag. Round of applause for United doing something right. Well done. I said it to one of my friends before that it would be an early Christmas present if United actually sacked Eric Ten Hag before Christmas. Well, they did it. Good for them because they deserved someone better. Now, are they going to get a new manager? Are they going to keep Van Nistelrooy? What is the decision? They are not using Van Nistelrooy. They are not going to Van Nistelrooy, which I think is stupid. But what the hell do I know? I mean, sure, let's not use the club legend and let's use a guy. Where is he from? Portugal? Who is this man? Oh, the guy from Sporting. Well, that's not terrible, but like, you're not using the guy from. You had one job. You sacked Ten Hag and you used Van Nistelrooy. That was your one job, Ineos. This club sucks. This club sucks. They're 14th. They deserve to be 14th. They have a God squad. I projected them to be in third, and they're 14th. They have a long way to go. Have fun playing Chelsea on Sunday. I swear, if they lose to Leicester on Wednesday, I'm going to be laughing like crazy because that is funny, chat. Yes, I will be laughing that Manchester United lose by like 3 at home to Chelsea. I would be doing that. The next Premier League fixtures to before the international break are Chelsea and Leicester, and they open this next part of the season with Ipswich, Everton, and Arsenal. That'll be fun. And of course, that Arsenal game is on a Wednesday. Why a Wednesday? Why Wednesday? Annoying. But that's the Premier League for the weekend. Chaos abound, and honestly, I don't even mind it. Now, we do have some news for you guys because Ten Hag was sacked, and that is insanity. But okay, I thought they just said Yamal won Ballon d'Or. No. So the Ballon d'Or ceremony is happening right as I'm recording this. And what we know is that despite Vinicius Jr. being the favorite, it's not Vinicius. And from the looks of it, trying to get an update on what's going on. This is funny. Real Madrid won the Men's Club of the Year, and no one's there to receive the award. That's awesome. Barcelona won the Women's Club of the Year. Yamal won the Copa Trophy, which is for the under 21 players when it goes to a 17-year-old. But yeah, Real Madrid aren't there, and Vinicius is not there. And from the looks of it, Vinicius is not winning the Ballon d'Or, which I think is crazy. And the only other player you could really think about winning it is Rodri from Manchester City, and he's hurt right now, which is just for reference. But all we know is that it's not going to Messi again. Even though he's putting on a really good season in the MLS, it's not Messi. So honestly, who knows who wins it? We probably won't know during this video, but I believe it'll go to Rodri, which I think is insane. I don't know. Everything's going like the Ballon d'Or is scuffed because it should have gone to Vinicius, even if he had a bad summer. He's been performing well at Real Madrid. Rodri, yes, he did great Euros, but he's been hurt. So yeah, they've both made great impacts. I would have voted Vinicius. I would have voted Vinicius Jr., but listen, I don't think Vinicius is winning it. He's not there. It doesn't look like he's going to win it. Um, I just texted a Manchester United fan. They do not like that United are looking outwards for a manager because they'll have to rebuild the whole club again. And again and again and again. I know, it's a chant I love. The and again chants. All right, so where are we going from here? Ah, yes, the World Series. The MLB playoffs. Something I've never gotten right, and I've not been close. The Mets in the NLCS were dethroned by the Dodgers because the Dodgers are the Dodgers. And the Yankees made it to the World Series because they played no one good. So here we are, Yankees and Dodgers in a World Series no one wanted, but we got the game we all needed in game one of the World Series on Friday. And it was insane. I was streaming that game by myself in a very lonely chat. And what happens? This game. Sack flies galore for Los Angeles. Giancarlo Stanton hits a home run. It's 2-2 into the 10th. It goes to 3-2 because of another. Tommy Edman had multiple errors on defense, but Anthony Rizzo does not want to run the bases. So if there's a situation where Anthony Rizzo runs to second base back in the 10th inning, that inning would have continued, and I think the Yankees could have put on 4 or 5 total. It would have been 4-5-2 up, but it's 3-2. They they get the bases loaded, the Dodgers, and it's Freddie Freeman against Nestor Cortez. Yeah, I don't know either. Um, Freddie Freeman, who destroys lefties, hits a towering shot to right and ends the game. Um, Maybe I can get my I'm not editing this video, so I was gonna say put my reaction in here, but I'm not editing it. So, um, yeah, the Dodgers won, and then the Dodgers won again because the Dodgers win games. They went up early. Tommy Edman redeemed his poor defensive play by hitting a home run. Juan Soto responds, but with a home run of his own. But Teoscar says, "Anything you can do, I can do better." He hits a 2-run home run, and then Freddie Freeman, because he's inevitable, hits a home run himself. Giancarlo Stanton got a hit, he got a single to drive in an RBI. He's the only person in the Yankees in the World Series not named Juan Soto to drive in a run in this series so far. The Yankees have scored, what, 5 runs in 2 games? The Dodgers have scored 10. And the biggest question is, where is Aaron Judge? It's like that "Where's Waldo" meme. God, the "Where's Waldo" joke. Like, where is he? Is he in Mexico, in Cancun, just chilling? Is he in Minnesota? Where is he from? Is he in Canada? Is he in freaking Japan? Is he freaking in in another spot of California? Is he in Arizona? Colombia? Who knows? I don't know. Because he's not playing baseball because he's not doing anything. If you really think about it, Aaron Judge in the postseason. You know what? Let's look at his numbers, chat, because this deserves to be studied. The playoff numbers for Aaron Judge. And oh, what a sight they are. He is hitting 150 in 40 at bats with 2 home runs, 6 RBIs. In his career in the postseason, he is hitting under 200 in 211 at bats. He's hitting 199 with 15 home runs, 31 runs batted in, 4 stolen bases, and a OPS under 750. Well, in the regular season, his career numbers, he's hitting over 11. He has an OPS over 1100. Sorry, he's OPS over 1,000, OPS over 1100 from the regular season. But in the playoffs this year, he has an OPS just over 600. What the hell is this? Like, what is happening? I don't know. I don't know what the problem is. All we know is that this dude loves striking out. I think he has more strikeouts than hits. That's a number. That's a stat we should find. Because he strikes out a lot now. Look at his Dodger numbers. He is hitless in the first. He's 1 hit in the first 2 games. and they play tonight in Game 3 of the World Series. This should be fun. We'll take a look at the matchup right now. We go back to Yankee Stadium on a very chilly night in the Bronx. I can tell you it's chilly because where my dorm is, it's like kind of right by it. It's going to be sub 50 in the middle of this game. I would thank God I'm not going to that, honestly. I would freeze to death. The pitching matchups, it's Clark Schmidt versus Walker Buehler. Now, my favorite part about this is that only 3 batters in the starting lineup for the Dodgers have ever faced Clark Schmidt. And the only one to do anything is Shohei Ohtani, who is leading off this game. It's Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Hernandez, Muncy, Will Smith, Gavin Lux, Enrique, and Tommy Edman. For the Yankees on the flip side, the only one to do anything relevant against Walker Buehler is Jazz Chisholm, who's 3 for 5. Juan Soto's 4 for 15 with 2 RBIs and 3 strikeouts. Anthony Rizzo also has faced Walker Buehler over 5 times. He's 2 for 9. No one else has faced him. So if you want to see a situation where really anything is possible, here you go. Only 6 batters have faced either starting pitcher once out of the 18 in the lineup tonight. That is crazy. I've never seen that before, especially in a World Series game. Walker Buehler entering this game is 0-1 with a 6 ERA. Clark Schmidt is a 3.86. They've pretty much pitched the same amount of innings, so this will be fun. I don't know who to pick for this game. I will say the Dodgers on the road in New York when they played the Mets were pretty good. And I think the Dodgers win game 3, but will lose game 4. That's what I'm expecting. If the Dodgers are throwing out a starting pitcher, they're not losing. If you looked at the numbers from their game 1 starter, that was Jack Flaherty. Other than the home run, he had like a 7 ERA going into that playoff game. And other than the home run he allowed to stand, he was miraculous. I think we'll see the same thing here with Walker Buehler. Give me the Dodgers in game 3 tonight. I'll say 4-3 is the score. The Dodgers, I just have more confidence in them. They have a lot of confidence. Yankees are in a must-win situation, and I just don't think they got it in them. I think they win game 4 and game 5. I think this goes to 6 now with the way this has started. This is must-win territory for New York tonight, but I don't think they have it in them. I don't think so. They have the talent, but not a lot of big performances in the playoffs other than Juan Soto, and it's pretty much been Juan Soto and Giancarlo Stanton. That's insane, chat. Game 3, 8:08 p.m. Eastern time tonight. Also, game 4 is at 8:08, and game 5 is also at 8:08. So every game's at 8:08 p.m. pretty much for this World Series. It's going to be entertaining. I'm excited to see how the rest of this plays out. But I really am more confident in the Los Angeles Dodgers, excuse me, for how they played game 2. They looked great in game 1 in the back end of that game. The offenses were irrelevant to like the 5th of the 6th, and then it started to turn on. They like hit the on switch for the offenses essentially in that game. But I do think the Dodgers do have this in the bag. Give me the Dodgers in game 3 tonight. To the National Football League, and depression is like settling in for me now. Beginning with Thursday, the Los Angeles Rams finally lived up to potential. Puka Nacua returns. Matt Stafford throws for 4 touchdowns. Unfortunately, the refs do not like making calls, and Byron Young gets away with a face mask penalty, and Sam Darnold gets sacked in the end zone for a safety on a call that should have been a 15-yard penalty. The Vikings got robbed. I don't know if they would have taken it down the field, but they had a minute 35, and the ball would have been at almost a 20. You could have expected the Vikings to maybe have some magic, but honestly, I don't know. Matt Stafford had a great game. Kyron Williams surprisingly did not score a touchdown rushing this game. But he did get a receiving touchdown, beg your pardon. And the Rams are able to come out on top. They win this game by a score of 30-20. Sunday games that we actually will care about. Um, there's a lot here. Tua Tagovailoa is back. Unfortunately, the wins are not, as a late field goal by Chad Ryland takes Arizona over the Miami Dolphins 28-27. The Cardinals lead the NFC West? Huh? Yeah, you heard me right. The the Cardinals in a three-team tie at the top of the West with the Rams one game behind, and they have a game at hand on everybody. The Cardinals, who have won back-to-back against the Chargers and now the Dolphins, are tied at the top of the division because no one wants to beat anyone. We'll go into some of those teams later. The Falcons. How about the Falcons? They play a fantastic game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in one of the better games on the season. Kyle Pitts had 2 touchdowns. Darnell Mooney had a great game himself. But in the end, it's Cade Otton who puts on a receiving clinic. 9 for 81 and 2 touchdowns for a tight end. It was tight end. It was tight end central in this game. The tight ends had a combined 172 receiving yards out of the top 2 tight ends in this game, and 4 touchdowns com- combined between Pitts and Otton. But in the end, it is Kirk Cousins' 4 passing touchdowns and no turnovers leading the way for the Falcons. They win this one 31-26 because Baker Mayfield had 2 turnovers. And the only turnover Cousins had was a fumble in the end zone for a safety. So it was the 31-19. Got a little uncomfortable in the end, but the Falcons were able to pull away in the end. How about Detroit? Defensively, Jesus, and offensively. Full team game. The Titans bench Will Levis, not a problem for the Lions defense, as the Lions find a way to beat the Titans 52-14. Next, the Eagles and the Bengals square off in Cincinnati, but the Eagles find a way to come out on top. Big day from Jalen Hurts running the ball. He had 3 rushing touchdowns and leading the way for the Eagles. Joe Burrow and company are in a horrible spot. They're at 3-5. How about the Bengals struggle? But you want to talk about teams that are struggling? Look at the Ravens. What the hell was this? They lost to the Cleveland Browns, a team that just traded their best receiver, has like no weapons. Well, I guess they do because Jameis Winston with 3 passing touchdowns, including 2 to Cedric Tillman, the 24-year-old, leads the way, including a touchdown inside the last minute to Cedric Tillman to win this one 29-24 over the Ravens. Lamar had 2 passing touchdowns. Derrick Henry ran for 1 himself. Zay Flowers had over 100 receiving yards. But famous Jameis is able to do it. I don't understand it. Do you understand it? No, because nothing makes any goddamn sense anymore. The Browns score over 20 points in the second half compared to the Ravens only scoring 14. And the Browns are able to come away with a significant win. They win this one 29-24. The Packers almost blew it to Jacksonville. We had an injury to Jordan Love. Malik Willis had to step in, but it's touchdowns with Brian Thomas and Evan Ingram causing a little bit of trouble for Green Bay in the end. But it's Brandon McManus' walk-off 24-yard field goal wins it for Green Bay. They're able to come away with a win. No updates yet on Jordan Love. Finally, in the 1 o'clock session, the Jets. I was wrong. I was very wrong. I'll say that again, and I'll sit up for this comment. I was wrong. I was very wrong about the New York Jets this season. When they get all of these pieces, they have a healthy Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson coming back, the young core, a phenomenal defense. You would expect them to, live up to potential once in a while. They didn't. They really didn't. They went out and lost to New England, a team that did not have their starting quarterback for over half this game. They played with Jacoby Brissett, who, give him credit, had a very solid performance coming off the bench. But the Jets, in their defensive and offensive struggles, continue as they fall to New England 25-22. I should never have had belief in them, shouldn't I have? They're 2-6 with this team. How in the world is that possible? Let's just list off some of the healthy weapons they have on this team. Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams. Allen Lazard is hurt, but we'll go with him. Running back core of Braylon Allen and Breece Hall, which is good. Tight ends of Tyler Conklin, who is not bad. He had a good game on Sunday. Defensively, they have Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, some of the best corners in the game. Yes, they're injured in the secondary, but how many times New England converted on 3rd and long? That cannot happen again. The margin of error for New York the rest of the way went from this to this in a span of a game because you cannot go out and beat New England. Jeff Ulbrich, what are we doing, man? How is this possible? How is your team and the roster that's been built losing to the Patriots? You beat them by like 20 plus in week 2 or week 3, whatever it was. You go to Foxborough and you shit the bed. Inexcusable. I should have never have had belief in them, shouldn't I? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Disappointed, frustrated watching them. Dan Orlovsky made a great point this morning. Their film is awful. It's terrible. All these weapons, and you make a piece of crap offense like this. I use a Nicky Lauda line from the movie that they made about him when he was with Ferrari. All these resources, you make a shit box like this. That's the Jets offense. And apologies for cursing for me, but it's a perfect example of the context of the New York Jets offense. The misreads, the runs getting stopped on 1st and 2nd down, inabilities to make plays on 3rd down, offensive linemen not being able to pick up assignments, defensively not being able to get a stop on 3rd down over half this game. A stop or 2 on 3rd down in the 4th quarter, and there you go. That's the game. Jets win. You want to blame it on Greg Zuerlein? I'm blaming it on the Jets defense. Where did they go in the second half? They were able to get some stops, yeah, but the amount of chances in the later stages of the 4th quarter they had to stop New England, they completely blew it. Jets lose 25-22 in a game they deserve to lose. You could blame it on Greg Zuerlein all you want. I don't think he should be a scapegoat for this. And you're going to ask me, is there a fix to the Jets? I'm going to come out and say it. There isn't one. There isn't one. You could trade for whatever you want. The Jets should ride it out with this team. They should. They really should. Because no one else is making this team from 2-6 to propelling them to 10-7 if they really want to go that way. No one is. This is on their wrongdoing, and they deserve to be this bad. And you know what? Who knows what the future looks like for them? Maybe Rodgers gives up. Maybe Devontae Adams demands another trade. I mean, you saw what happened in Vegas. Who knows about the futures of Garrett Wilson and the rest of this team? The Jets are a mess again. And this time, it's more inexcusable than the last. And I've said that a lot about them. You could have blamed Zach Wilson all you want, but I was proven right the moment this offense stepped onto the field in week 4. I said Zach Wilson wasn't the main problem. He was bad, but he wasn't the main problem. And I was right, chat. Aaron Rodgers has pretty much scored the same amount of points as Zach Wilson did at this point of last season. Amazing. Eureka. What the hell? How is this possible? It's amazing. All these weapons, and you make a shit team like this. Unbelievable. Unfreaking believable. You couldn't have made a worse situation if you tried. Maybe the Browns and the Panthers, but regardless, you couldn't have made a worse situation if you tried. Jets lose 25-22. All right, the Texans. They played the Colts in the early session. The Colts were able to blow it because Anthony Richardson went 10 for 32. Thank God he's not my quarterback. CJ Stroud was okay. Joe Mixon ran for another touchdown, and the Texans were able to come away with a narrow victory. I need to calm my breath. Get some relax for a second. Just like Anthony Richardson does on the bench. My goodness. So many games. Where is the break coming in? I'll tell you where the break comes in. The Chargers beat down on the Saints. The Broncos defeated the Panthers, and Sean Payton talked a lot of crap about the Panthers afterwards. We had the Bills run over the Seahawks. The Chiefs found a way against Las Vegas, which, okay. Xavier Worthy and Travis Kelce getting receiving touchdowns. Kareem Hunt is back. He's causing problems, but no one cared about any of those results, maybe other than Kansas City, if this game doesn't end the way it does. Chicago. Hello. You know when that moment a couple of years ago when the Jets blew it on the last play against Las Vegas, when Henry Ruggs torched the Jets' terrible secondary in like week 10 of whenever that was? I vividly remember that day because I was going to a golf simulator back in my hometown. And my dad and I were driving in the car and we're listening to it on the radio because we all thought this game was wraps. I think we found a moment worse than that because the arrogance of Chicago shows. And the Commanders, on a Hail Mary on the last play, they come out on top for their first touchdown of the game to walk it off against Caleb Williams and the Bears. DeAndre Swift's 129 rushing yards wasn't enough, as Jaden Daniels throws for over 325 passing yards to lead the way on the last play to defeat the Chicago Bears. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. On the last play, the Bears had a 96% chance to win this game. According to ESPN, they had a 97.9% chance. I saw a stat this morning. This is like the 4th time in the Matt Eberflus era where they've had a 90+% chance to win a game and they've lost, which I think is just special. I thought I was hearing that about the Jets, but no, it was about the freaking Bears. At least the Bears are 4-3. Yikes. Washington, shout out to them. That's the story of the weekend. It was going to be the meme of the weekend was going to be the Jets. But the Bears celebrating, that one Bears player celebrating early and then the Hail Mary being thrown incomplete in the end, that's the meme of the week. Finally, in the NFL, we had the 49ers defeat the Dallas Cowboys, led by big days from uh, Garendo, the running back. George Kittle had over 125 receiving yards. CeeDee Lamb's 2 touchdowns and almost 150 receiving yards was not enough as the 49ers defeat the struggling Dallas Cowboys. Tonight is the Jets. Giants Steelers. Gave me the Steelers in that game. As this is going out on a very special Monday release for once. To wrap up today's show, we are going to talk about F1. It's back on the channel. I know, it's amazing, isn't it? And we were treated yesterday afternoon to an incredible Mexican Grand Prix. So just to catch you up on what we missed on in the last couple of weeks, the FIA released the new rules for next year. There won't be a fastest lap point anymore, which fastest lap points, I think they should have stayed in, but there's a reason why I think the FIA will be taking them out. Max and Lando had a tussle at Cota when Leclerc won, and like Max drove Lando off the track, and Lando got a penalty for it. Well, that didn't happen this time, as we were in Mexico this week, and the winner was Carlos Sainz, which is he's only the second winner from pole in the last 7 races. Carlos is able to take the win. Lando Norris, who qualified like 4th, got 2nd, which is a very big result for him because Max Verstappen finished in 6th and had 20 seconds of penalties in this race. For those who don't know, Max and Lando had another scrap. Max drove Lando off the track, not once, at least once, but Max forced Lando off the track and gained an advantage. That's 1 penalty, and Max forcing Lando off the track multiple times was the 2nd penalty. So Max had 20 seconds of penalties and was literally waiting in the pits for 20 seconds before they could change his tires, which I thought was hilarious because that was a perfect way to do it. Max made a very good comment afterwards too. He's like, maybe I could have gotten like a drink or something. I was just sitting in the car for 20 seconds with the engine off, and I could have had a drink or something. Biggest result of the weekend was Lando. Sainz and Ferrari with him and Leclerc have been fantastic. They won in Cota, they won in Monza, and now I think they've won 3 of the last 4. Is that right? Yeah. Well, they've won 3 of the last 5. They won in Italy. Piastri and Norris from McLaren won in Azerbaijan and Singapore. But then back-to-back wins for Ferrari. And that's big for them in the constructor standings. But we'll go through the main order. Signs from Norris, Leclerc are the top 3. Lando got past Leclerc because Leclerc almost binned it in the final corner. He's able to keep it alive and finish in 3rd. Hamilton and Russell had a great bit of scrapping throughout the second half of the race. Max got 6th. Kevin Magnussen and Nico Hulkenberg each getting points. Haas are the biggest shocking team of the year. They are the shock team of the year. Other than McLaren, of course, because they might win the team's championship. But regardless, Haas, who I projected to finish in last, are thriving. They're in like 6th in the constructor standings. They're like 6th or 7th. They're amazing. Hulkenberg and Magnussen. Magnussen, neither of them driving for them next year. Does that make any sense? Absolutely not. Piastri was in between the Haas sandwich after Piastri qualified like 17th on Saturday. Gasly rounds out the drivers in the points, followed by Stroll, Colapinto, Ocon, Valtteri Bottas, Zhou Guanyu, Lawson, and Sergio Perez, but a 5-second penalty of his own and crashed mid-race. For reference, Sergio Perez got a 5-second penalty for not starting in the start box thing correctly because he false started. So he was like, both tires are over the line. And he's like, nope, I didn't false start. Well, guess what, buddy? You did. And he crashed into Liam Lawson, and both of them finished 16th and 17th. We also did have a crash on lap 1 between Yuki Tsunoda and Albon, and Alonso retired on his 400th career race start. He's been driving an F1, just for reference, as many years as I've been alive, pretty much, or like something like that. Because he won the championship when I was 1 year old and when I was 1 and 2 years old, and he hasn't won a championship since the year after my brother was born, which is absolutely crazy. Yet he's still in Formula One. Um, if you take a look now at the drivers' standings, which is what everyone wants to care about at this point, Max Verstappen continues to lead. He leads by 47 points. I think it's what, yeah, 47 points from Lando Norris. Leclerc is in third. He is only okay. This is where it gets really uncomfortable for Lando because he could still find a way to finish in third. Leclerc is 16 points off of Lando, and Piastri is 40 points off of Leclerc. So that could get interesting. Also, becoming interesting is that Carlos Sainz's resurgence in the back end of the season has him 11 points off of Piastri. Hamilton and Russell are sixth and seventh. Sergio Perez, who's still not fired somehow, is in eighth, and he is 27 points off of Russell. Alonso is in ninth. Nico Hulkenberg, who I projected 17th, is in 10th. It's just ridiculous. Stroll is 11th, which is right around where I had him. Then Magnussen, who I had projected last, isn't yet, is 13th. Then Albon, Pierre Gasly, then Colapinto, who's not the worst. Ocon, Lawson, Zhou, and Bottas. We've had 23 different drivers this year. We only have 3 who've driven in a race this season who have not scored points. One of them got fired, and 2 of them are still in driving, and they're both on the same team, and that's Sauber. They have 0 points still this season. That's insane. Mattia Binotto is gonna have to put on a clinic when he joins the team more full time next year. As for the constructor standings, McLaren continue to hold top spot. Ferrari have jumped Red Bull into second position, and they're only 29 points off of, or like 29 or 31 points off of McLaren. Red Bull are right behind Ferrari, and then it's a big drop off to Mercedes, and then an even bigger drop off to Aston Martin, Haas, RB, Williams, Alpine, and Sauber. This is insane. F1's been amazing. All the sports this weekend were equally as crazy. But unfortunately, that is where I'll be leaving you guys today, as that is the end of the Robbie Basel show today on a special Monday episode. Make sure to like and subscribe. We will be filming on Friday. Edits return then. For now, once again, Robbie Basel saying so long. See you guys next time. Goodbye, everyone.